think part of learning is you got to die a little bit. Because what is learning? Learning is me giving up on my old shit, my old ideas. Those ideas have to die for me to be open to some new shit. And so me learning how to be a better man, I had to die a little bit.
And when you kill shit inside of you, man, there's a fucking hole. And you don't know what to put in there. And
right.
You just got to find the right food.
Right.
You got to find the right food.
And I was lucky to have like some good dudes in my life at the time when it hit for me to be able to fill it with the right shit. You know, and that's only furthered the longer I've been in the middle of it, you know, getting in contact with whatever spiritual path you find. But when you're around a bunch of dudes who are really committed to that kind of life, it rubs off on you if you're around it long enough.
I just want to give you one more opportunity, if you want it, just to speak about your wife, man, and just about what she means to you and you know, her path and her relationship with all this. I know she's been a part of your life for a long time, but just if you feeling it, just speak on her.
Yeah, well, I'll never be able to speak on it. I don't know nothing like this relationship. I never have in my life. I never had, even my parents, even my father, you know, I never had what I got with her, which is, you know, to enter my life, to be with me, she had to take a loss. She had to like eat shit to be with me. To be with me, she had to re-enter being a part of my life, she had to take a hit. In ways that I've spoken about before, and in other ways too, probably, you know? And what I know love to be is selfless, loving action. And I've never known anything as loving or as selflessly active as what this woman did for me in my life. She showed up for me at a time when, I mean, this is the first time I saw her. We had been estranged for like years because of my jealousy. She went and did a movie with another actor, and I thought she was cheating on me. So then I cheated on another. It was just a fucking mess. It was all weak shit, little boy shit, like nonsense. And we hadn't talked for 2 years when all this shit hit, and I wound up at this rehab, right, in Utah, and they do something called Family Week, and every week, on a Sunday, everybody who's involved in the program has their family show up on these Skype calls. And everybody will show up in the same room. And your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your wife, your friends, whatever.
Just you and the people? Or
no, it's you, the whole squad of you that are in this group. Like 12 of us in my class.
Everyone's family.
Everyone's family pops up on the screen. And week 1, no one shows up. For me, no one. They got the calls. I know they got the calls, but no one showed up. My mother, my father, no one showed up. Manager, friends, no one showed up. Week 2, same thing. So I'm sitting in this room, and even the person who's like therapizing me, she's starting to feel like this, she's empathizing with where I'm at. Everybody else in the room, we got a dude who like, you know, this isn't just alcoholics and shit. This is like fucking arsonists and like child predators and all kind of wild people in this group, right? And they got people showing up for them. And I don't have nobody showing up for me. And week 2, week 3, I'm there 90 days. So I'm there for a clip. And there comes a point where Family Week comes around. I say to my therapist, like, I'm not gonna go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to subject myself to this shit. Like, I'm on a path, and you know, let me just stay here. Like, I don't want to keep reminding myself of how fucked my situation is. And she says, no, I think you should show up this week. And I show up thinking, all right, my mom's gonna be on there. You know, my mom will be on. And Mia is on the screen. And, you know, like, you don't deserve that kind of shit. You know what I mean? You don't deserve that kind of shit. Like, I don't deserve that kind of shit. You know, I done put her through years and years of fucking nonsense, bro. Just like, and I don't have nothing to offer her either. You know what I mean? I'm in the middle of my shit. You know, I'm fucking like, I'm like 2 months into this program. You know, I don't even have nothing going on. I have nothing going on. I'm making this list. She's at the top of the list, but I'm not reaching out to her or nothing like that. And you heard her voice. Like, she's like a fucking angel, you know what I mean? everybody does their shit and I'm fucking gone, you know? And so they let her go first because I can't even fucking believe. And they all know because I ain't had no family show up for me. And she unmutes and she's like, hi, Shia. You know, and it's like, she's prepping a movie. She ain't got no fucking time for this, you know? But she found time and she said, hi, Shia. And we just smiled. We had nothing else to say. But she saved my fucking life, dog. Like, before the kid, before the job, before God, before any religion, before a laugh, before a laugh, before Bo, before a phone, before anything, was this woman's face. And there wasn't no promises made, wasn't no long conversation being had, nothing. Just her presence, the ministry of presence. Sometimes that's all you need to offer a person who's in a situation like that, is like just to be present. And she was present for me at a time when I didn't deserve to have nobody in my life, especially her. And I'm not trying to do this boo shit because right away my head goes to like, how's this being viewed? I'm such a fuck this way,
you're
but
good. Come on, man.
Yeah. She's a real one. She's a real one, and I'll never be able to. It's the first time I really understood love because I didn't have nothing to give, and I was sitting there thinking like, well, I don't have nothing. It's not sexy to be with me. Don't you get it? Like, people out here accusing me of like putting makeup on my genitals and like shooting dogs and shit. Like, you know, that's what I'm being accused of. And you're showing up for me like you're gonna be tied to this shit? It didn't make no fucking sense. And love is irrational that way. You can't rationalize real love. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And I had spent my whole life trying to rationalize it. Like, you know, this dude hits me up. He's in my corner because, you know, we fuck with the same craft. You know what I mean? That's what he loves this thing that I got that I'm like, I'm G with this shit over here. That's why he loves me, because he loves that part of me that's G at this. You know, and then I would write your love off like, oh, okay, you love me because I do this shit. And so many of my relationships were basically like, you love me because I'm fucking sensei over here. In the dojo, I'm black belt right here. So you love me because of this. And when they blow the dojo up, you're like, I'm not G at I'm not sensei at nothing. I don't even know how to fish. I don't even know how to fucking do nothing. Like, I don't even know how to camp. I'm a fucking little kid. You know what I mean? I don't know how to make a fire. And yeah, she gave me hope, bro, when I was really like running on fumes. I wasn't running on empty, but I was running on fumes. I'd had a sponsor in my life who was he was saying, yo, be patient, the shit will show up. Miracles will show up. This was another miracle. Bags packed is a miracle. You know, them laughing in the car is a miracle. My wife's face on the Skype call is a miracle. The shit starts to add up where, you know, it becomes this like, it creates faith because you're not doing it. It wasn't some fucking dope poem I sent or some flowers I sent that put her on the Skype call. And it wasn't good behavior or being a man. Bro. It wasn't good sex that got my wife on the Skype call. It wasn't like any of this self-will shit that I used to validate her being in my life. Like, even my sex life was like, it was so performative. It was like, well, if a woman didn't orgasm, I would question it. You know, like, what does this mean about me? It was always about me. I never had like a real coupling. It was always performative, and it was always like this constant validation trip. If I would try to look for the same shit I got at work over here in this relationship. And the reason I didn't like being friends with men is it was constantly this comparison study. You know, and this has been difficult too, is to like reach back out to people who were in my corner then, who are still in my corner but are G's. It's hard to reach out to dudes like that because you knew them at a certain level. You know, another dude who really showed up for me was Cuddy. Like, he was the first friend that really hit me back, you know, like, and he's a fucking G. Dude is like, his life is on fire. And it's hard to, like, I've always known him at a certain kind of equivalency. We've always been to be in each other's lives as sort of like, you know, like I knew him at a level, and I'm not at that level. And sometimes it's difficult to like, to show up for the love, that people are throwing at you. Because you think you think you are these Twitter comments. You think you are this idea fuck, I got to get out of this octave because I sound like boohoo bullshit.
No,
but
come on, being you, bro.
Yeah, but I don't want to be fucking performative for your shit.
Dude, just...
It's difficult for a dude in my spot to receive love. Because you don't feel like you deserve it. And so... you wind up dipping on a lot of people, even when they're showing up for you. Mm-hmm. And then you got to have like real conversations. I had to really put it out there to him, like, bro, I don't feel successful enough to be your friend anymore. What a fucking like crazy shit to write, but you gotta air it out.
You're not stuck there anymore.
Nah,
you see what
I wouldn't be able to sit here with you if I was there.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you about this shit.
Right. And so so the emotion right now, what this is
it's almost
from, the realization
it's in retrospect
of like, damn,
yeah,
dude,
where I was.
Who gives a fuck about all that shit?
This is where I'm looking back at it because I think, fuck, what a sorry case. Like, what a sad motherfucker for real. You know what a. And that's who I was. Not even that long ago, bro. This is like 2 months ago.
But I understand. But the fact that you were there, the fact that you've been there, that you treaded on that path, means you can actually talk to others who are fucking locked in that bullshit.
And I do.
That's it, man.
And that really is my purpose in life now. It's to like be able to express the reality of my life, that you could be where I just was, you know, in some kind of sense memory, like remembering the text message conversation I had with this man, and also know that now we talk all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, now I don't need to be anything. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be a certain this or a certain that to have permission to have friends, or a wife, or anything. Like I deserve it. And that's a hard thing to say, that you deserve love when on paper, no, you don't. You know what I mean? Listen, bro, like for me, there are few things as ugly as putting your hands on a woman. There's nothing worse. I remember I used to come into AA all the time, put my hand up like, yeah, I just got in a fight with a cop. I grew up on Eazy-E. This shit's sexy, you know what I mean? I used to put my hand up like, I just flipped a car, you know what I mean? I just got in a fight with this or that. And there was like this faux, it was like I romanticized that kind of shit. 100%. When you come back in and you raise your hand, and you don't even need to raise your hand because dude's already read it. Your baggage already showed up at the hotel before you got there. People know about you. There's nothing sexy about what I'm dealing with. And that's what makes me useful. It's also why I go to strictly men's meetings. Because you don't hear about dudes talk about what we're talking about at a mixed meeting. Because very quickly, once women are involved, I probably wouldn't be able to talk like this with you if there was a woman here. Because right away, the little boy in me would start like curating again. You know what I mean? And when I'm here with you, I can forget about that also and all this shit. It takes a certain kind of dude to be able to open a person up like this and be receptive of it. And also like show up and look the dragon in the eye, knowing that there's purpose. Like I'm purpose driven here. I'm willing to eviscerate myself and emasculate myself and like, because I know that there's this grander purpose than like me trying to
100%.
Yeah. So the reason I go to strictly men's meetings is because dudes get vulnerable about the ugly shit, the shit that dudes don't want to talk about. And the reason the show is important is because you kind of serve the same purpose that those things on a bigger scale, in a less specified sense, for a lot of dudes that don't have a masculinity ceremony. There's no puberty ceremony in culture. Right. When do you come in as an American man? When do you become a man? When you get a driver's license? Like, what do we do? You're 16, we give you a driver's license. Okay, well, like, you get a job? Like, when do you become a man? You become a man when you become responsible for other people. And part of that is taking accountability. And so like I'm very new to this being a man thing and I'm still not there, and I'm on a path. But I didn't have no like, I grew up in a culture that told me going to war made you a man. Going to prison and coming back makes you a man. Making $1 million makes you a man, you know, and it doesn't. And you don't know it till you've done all these things and realize, damn, I'm still a little fucking boy. Yeah. Or been around people who've been there a bunch of times. You know, I don't know nothing about being at war like Kevin, but I know a bunch of soldiers that come back and are still fucking little boys. Can't wait to get back out. I know so many dudes can't wait to get back out, you know. Guys that we know, warriors. But even warriors don't make you a man.
That's right.
You know. Also, my definition of warrior has changed.
Me too.
Like, you know, I didn't really know what that meant. And really, it's about bringing others back. Mm-hmm. And that's my whole fucking mission, dog, really. Is just to, like, dudes who've been where I've been or something similar, just know it gets better. It does. Like, it don't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense. It's irrational. It doesn't make any sense on paper that I could have joy in abundance in my life, that I could feel any kind of joy in my life after being what I've been. Mm-hmm. It doesn't
the
make.
path isn't clear. It's not lit up. You got to find it.
Yeah, and also you got to get the fuck out of the way, and that's where the work really is. It's like getting out the way, and allowing this bigger thing to work in your life. Because the bigger thing is working in your life whether you know it or not. And you're either going to let go willingly or you're going to get dragged. But either way, you're going to be humbled in this life. And there's nothing you can do about it.
How do you feel about the craft going forward? Are you I know you talked about the experience you just had and it aligned yourself and it served you and served your mission and informed your mission.
Sure.
But you also recognize that there's real trappings. You also recognize that there's real...
Did you say trappiness?
Trappings.
Oh, I thought trappiness is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Trappiness.
But
yeah,
but same shit. Trappings, dog. You know what I mean? There's you go down that path and those voices. How do you feel? What are you looking for? What's your interest? Do you have a plan? Do you have desires? Do you have like so tell me. So like what's your relationship to it now?
I'm not just saying this because it sounds good. Like I'm on my professional good guy. Like all I care about is my purpose. Mm-hmm. I don't really think about craft much. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When it pops up, and really the only guys that can work with a guy like me are dudes at a certain level, because they're gonna have to talk to a marketing department about why they just hired an atomic bomb to come work on their movie. You know, and the only dudes who can really make that kind of shit happen are guys who are very far and few between.
Right.
But I'm also not in this jobbing mode. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was talking about dude the other day. Like something really sexy about working at Home Depot. Mm-hmm. You know, my head goes there before it goes to like, let me go work on some movie where I'm playing a Romanian vampire lawyer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
You think you could work at Home Depot?
Yeah.
You think you have the skills for it?
1,000%.
But you think you understand the inventory of Home Depot?
I spend so much time in Home Depot, dog.
Do you?
Yeah, that's a church for me.
Yeah.
Home Depot
Are you
is
building a lot? Are you working with your hands?
I'm in Home Depot all the time.
Okay, so you feel like
I love
you
Home
have
Depot.
What's another job you feel like you could do that would both serve you and your mission? You feel like you'd be good at?
Oh, just any kind of like regular shit, like regular like.
Do you think you could work in a kitchen?
No,
because you're not good.
That's another kind of
okay.
That's another kind of crafty job where like the impetus is on the poetry of you.
Right.
Then I'm fucking lost again.
Right.
I'm talking about something where the poetry of me doesn't matter one fucking iota.
Right.
I need something like I'm looking at jobs that don't cultivate your poetry and your uniqueness. I'm looking for jobs that keep me humble. And I think working at Home Depot Home Depot is full of possibilities.
So in the back of your mind, there's not something, this yearning. I mean, I'm sure the voice is there that's saying, I got stories to tell. I got to get out there.
No.
It's gone.
No. Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone, or it's just quiet.
I don't wake up and think about what acting I'm going to do.
Right.
No, that doesn't take any space in my life. I don't have an agent. I don't have like. I don't live that shit. I have dudes I'm around and I watch them do the shit. I don't do that. Both because my life is structured in such a way where the universe has given me that gift. That's where I'm at right now. I need you to not be interested in me. I need that route to not be open to me for me to get where I need to be.
For sure.
Because if it is,
for sure,
buddy boy,
for sure,
I'm gonna go.
Is there any way that you feel like you can use your
But that's also not to say that there aren't opportunities where you can't say no. You know, when Coppola calls you, when Abel Ferrara calls you, these are dudes I looked up to before I was a heretic.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always, Bad Lieutenant for me, top 10. Yeah. The Conversation, top 10. Yeah. This shit, it's like when the top 10s call you, then it's like, don't deny God either.
Right.
And so I was blessed to work with Abel and had an incredible experience working with him and made a lifelong friend in him. And he had the clout and was insane enough and was searching for something so specific that he thought I was the right guy for the job. I have something to offer for a very specific kind of guy in a very specific kind of role. It happened to work there. It also had intrinsic value attached to it.
Yep.
And so that,
that you learned by doing it. You didn't know going in.
Nah, dude.
As it is.
I went in there on a let me get back to my hustle mission. Abel Ferrara, Willem Dafoe. Oh shit, I'm back on. I can read the Deadline articles now. You know what I mean? Like this is where instantly. Yeah. And so more humility had to happen through the process, and has to happen on a day-to-day basis. I'm movie got into Venice. It's in competition. Boy, right away, my fucking head could talk all kind of shit and make me feel like, oh, you know what? You're back on, dog. And I spend a lot of time in prayer. Like, why do you got us going there? Why have you made it accessible to me and not to other people?
Why have you provided me wiggle room? It is my responsibility to not make it that.
Yeah. And what kind of lesson am I supposed to be learning here? Not just in how to navigate this stuff away from set, but how do I navigate on set relations? Do you want me to work different? This is why my working different happened. It was like, because my main priority was my good guy, and my way of working was not about that at all. My way of working was animal. Totally. It was totally instinct driven, magic cultivating. I couldn't even put my finger. I don't have a process. You at least have I don't have no process. My process is, I don't even know what it is. I don't know what I do. Which is another problem. But this time it was because I was playing a priest, a monk, and I was surrounded by non-actors. It was no other actors. There was only monks around me. There's no acting going on. You're gonna show up in the morning and pray with us, and you're gonna have to learn Latin prayer. You're gonna have to do this. You can't act this. You can't be over here on your cell phone and then jump over here and be running mass. It's not going to work. Yeah. So it forced me to, and there's a certain amount of humility that comes with being a priest, and a certain amount of suffering that you ask for. A priest is a masochist. It's the most masochistic thing in the world to want to be a priest. Because what are you actually doing? It's the ultimate performance. When you go up and run mass, you're performing the death of Christ. You're not just telling the tale. You are embodying the journey to the mount. You are performing it. Yeah. And the good ones really go there. I happen to be playing a dude who, and this is why the job worked for me, invited a certain amount of destruction into his life. He invited a certain amount of pain, and he painted with his pain. Pio specifically felt that his mass was a mass of tears. And so he would cultivate all this pain. He was nourishing and cultivating and watering his pain on a day-to-day basis because he felt his purpose was to suffer for others. And I was there for a minute. I remember talking to you about like what this job is. Your job is to show up and bleed out. That's how we used to talk about this. Right. What is the job? Show up and die in front of the camera. You better, leave it all on the field. That's how I used to talk about my craft was I am a vessel for suffering. Mm-hmm. What I do best is I suffer in front of a camera. Mm-hmm. And so you're playing this guy, you have this certain way of working, and yet it's like the most loving, calm, collaborative, lack of control in a performance I've ever had. The performance isn't something I made, it happened to me. you know, we would do takes, and right before the take, I'd get nervous, and I'd look over to this dude named Brother Alex, and I never used to do this. I used to play like music on loudspeaker. You know, I used to be such a manager. You know, yeah, but you got to play this song on this. I'm going to go jump in the corner, and I'm going to... You've seen how I get down. Like, it's so managed. I'm not going to show up on set until I'm not going to rehearse. I'm going to do this. This guy's got to be here, and you got to do this, and don't look at me.
You're getting in my way. You're the enemy.
Yeah. Get away from me. Yeah. I don't need you here, you know?
Yeah.
And this time it was like I was leaning on dudes who weren't actors, you know, and they would look at me and they don't have the answers either. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes when you're entering a mass of tears and you're playing one of the most important figures in all of Catholicism, the pressure's heavy. The pressure's enormous. You're in Italy. You're staying at the seminary he grew up in. He is considered like the most important, other than Christ in Italy, he is the most important Catholic. He's more important than St. Francis. He is, they paint him on walls. So when you tell people you're playing Pio right away, you can't live up to it. It's just impossible. You're never going to get it. And really, it's like playing Bob Dylan. If you're going to play Bob Dylan, you better learn how to play some songs.
That's right.
If you're going to play Pio, you need to know how to run a mass. And so there's a lot of pressure in a mass. And so 11 months of prep went to this one moment where you're getting ready to run this mass. And old me would have been so managed. Old me would have been so nitpicky and so controlling, and this got to be there and that's got to be here. And really, like, I showed up on set. It was the easiest and probably the best work of my life. I showed up on set. I looked at this man. I told him I loved him. He told me he loved me, and then you're off and running. And I had never had that as a motivator. When I told you, like, what motivated my life before all this happened to me wasn't love. It wasn't goodwill towards my fellows. The idea that somebody's life would be motivated by that felt cheesy and like naive, you know, like not in this dog-eat-dog environment. No way. It's actually the most powerful.
100%.
Yeah, I never worked from that place. I never used that well. And I didn't know that well was full either. And then you turn to that well, and that well is full, and the work is better, and it's almost like a part of you dies a little bit. It's like when we talk, you learn to move a different way. But if you'd have told me that when we were on Fury, I'd have told you kick rocks, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, no way.
Yeah.
And maybe that was what you were trying to tell me. You know, maybe I just wasn't open to the message. I remember Brad turning to me one time in a scene, and this is Brad, right? The fuck am I to a Brad? Brad, no matter what you look at, you know, there's no way you can write the man off. As a craftsman, as a fucking Adonis, as a father, as an all-around G. The dude is thorough. And I remember being on set with him and him turning to me after a scene and saying, man, what do I do? And my fucking ass got lost. I was intoxicated. Brad Pitt just asked me what to do. I didn't even hear what the question was. My response wasn't even, it didn't come from no honest place. All I heard was, you're amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't see the genius of his humility.
Wow.
I didn't see the beauty in his love.
Wow.
I didn't see it. I didn't see this selfless act. He was actually bigging me up and using his take to do it. He knew I was next. He knew they were going to turn this camera around and I was going to have to go after him, because no matter how you structure it, when you're the star of a movie, you go first, usually. And he was going first, and he used his last take. He threw it away just so he could big me up, because he knew the camera was turning around, and all I heard was, you're fucking amazing, dog. Give me advice. And that fucked me up for a while. I just wasn't ready to hear or see what he was actually doing, which was coming from this place of humility and love and like he was like I don't know what the word is. It's not emoliating, but he kind of like, he leveled himself to like big me up, and I had never moved like that or knew anything about that in life or in craft.
Yeah.
But I've been around dudes who did it. I just couldn't see it. You know, I looked up to like the rah-rah gorillas I was around, you know. Part of me really appreciated working with you because I thought, here's another rah-rah gorilla I'm around. But yours has, you have an adaptation that I couldn't see at the time, you know, because you loved us, all of us. You know, I remember me and Pena were about to get in a fist fight in London.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, and you showed up for us, and that fight went away, and you didn't have to do that, you know. And it's not always like tough guy either. I remember like sitting in the grass with you, and you being like, "Hey, let's run these scenes," and us like sitting in the grass, like on some Dead Poet Society shit. You know what I mean? Sitting in the grass, just like reading to each other
with apples and shit.
Yeah, with apples and shit. But yeah, I some of the stuff I see now was around me already, and I just wasn't open to it. Even the things like Hardy was always very brotherly with me, very he's another dude who, in the midst of all this shit, I had to make amends to him. I had to make amends to him because, you know, I did a press tour where I mouthed off about how me and him got in a fist fight and and like on my rah-rah, let me define myself by using this other man who's respected in the world and let me minimize him to big myself up kind of shit. Like, and I had to make amends to him. He was on my list. And when I hit him up, you know, the response also, because he's got principles in his life, you know, the response wasn't even a conversation. It was not even a, it was, I love you, you don't owe me no amends, you know, but thanks. Sometimes it is just that simple, but the fact that I'm showing up for it and I'm taking stock in my life and I'm defining that vague tension that existed between me and other people is how I gotta move so that I don't have this monologue in my head that tells me I'm a piece of shit. In order to get rid of that monologue, I gotta show up and I gotta clean it up. That's really what I'm doing now. So you asked me if I think about acting much. I got bigger fish to fry right now. That's where I'm at. I know not much. I know I love you. I know I'm blessed today. I know I got work to do, and I know that it's all gonna be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. I like watching you from afar.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's John, Bam Bam the dog. First, on behalf of both of us and everybody from the Real Ones team, I just want to sincerely thank you guys for tuning in. The folks that I bring on the show, they're family to me, and being able to tell their stories and bringing you into their world is something I'm just super proud of, and again, grateful that you guys tune in. We've decided we want to take things just a step further. We're going to introduce a Patreon community. And basically what that means is if you become a part of this community, look, I already bored Bam Bam. If you want to become a part of this community, you're going to be able to hear episodes early and all that, ad-free and all that good stuff. But there's all this behind-the-scenes footage, all this stuff that we've shot that really brings you into the folks that we've had on the show, really brings you into their world. You're going to be able to do live chats with me and the folks that I bring on the show to talk about their world, talk about the issues that they're dealing with, about their triumphs and their tragedies. Just go to Patreon/RealOnes on this website that you see right there, right on the screen, that's right in front of you. This whole idea was something about building bridges and bringing people together and bringing folks that often don't get the mic and giving the mic to them. So the fact that you guys tune in means the world. Anyways, again, thank you. Be good to each other out there. Rock and roll.
Why do you get dressed early in the morning in clothes that you buy just for work? Fighting through traffic jams in a car you're still paying for in order to get to a job that you hate, but need to pay for your clothes, the car, and that house you leave all day long so you can afford to live in it. Does this sound crazy to you? Where's this lifestyle taking you? Towards your dream? If not, how will you ever become truly fulfilled? More importantly, how will you ever get out of this antiquated time for money trap? That's if you've reached a point in your life where you feel you need to get out. So what's the alternative? It's just life. It's just how things are, right? Wrong. This used to be how you earned money in the Industrial Revolution. Time for products for money. We're now living through the digital revolution. Time for money jobs are quickly becoming a thing of the past.